Pawarumi is an arcade-style shoot-'em-up in the veins of games like Ikaruga, Radiant Silvergun, and Galactic Attack. French developer Manufacture 43 set forth to provide fans of the genre something familiar, while providing their own unique mechanics. So, how does this shoot-'em-up fare? Let's find out! Pawarumi's story is an interesting one. While I won't go too much into it to avoid spoilers, you control Akko, a guardian who protects the people of Pawarumi. Taking place in a Neo-Aztec universe, you will face off against foes relatable to the source materials, such as a character like Zabalba. As you advance throughout the game's stages, more unfolds within the story where the twist starts to come into play. There are 3 difficulty levels, each with a different path than the other difficulty levels. There are 3 different endings, each based on your difficulty. Like old school fashion though, you will need to play the game on hard difficulty if you want the true ending of the game. It's honestly a game that I didn't expect to have a story, as a majority of shoot-'em-ups focus solely on the core gameplay. Manufacture 43 did incorporate a solid story though, that truly helps carry the game across the various locales. It's nothing deep, but it's enough to get their point across. Now, the gameplay in Pawarumi is a shoot-'em-up, as I've mentioned a few times already. However, the devs have incorporated a unique rock-paper-scissors mechanic called Trinity Mechanic. You have 3 different weapons to utilize: the Red Jaguar, Blue Condor, and Green Serpent. With these weapons, you will have to master the Drain, Boost, and Crush mechanic. This is where the rock-paper-scissors comes in play. The Boost mechanic allows you to replenish your shields should you fire the same color weapons as the same color enemy. The Drain and Crush mechanics have you firing a certain color weapon against foes of opposing colors. Drain allows you to replenish your super weapon meter, while Crush lets you dish out extra damage to your foes. It's a unique premise, and thankfully the heads-up display on the bottom highlights which weapon applies to these mechanics. It can be a bit confusing at first, but you'll get the hang of it the more you start playing. There's thankfully a tutorial you can play as well to better grasp the mechanics, and believe me, you'll need to master the Trinity mechanic if you hope to see the game to the end on the normal and hard difficulties. So, here's the thing about Pawarumi. All you get is 1 life to get through the whole game. Yep, that's right, you heard it correctly. There are no checkpoints, no restart the level, no continues. Memories began to kind of flood my mind of the days of me playing Double Dragon 3 on the NES and knowing I only get 1 shot for the entire game. However, I didn't learn this until starting normal mode. My first playthrough on easy, I was able to actually beat it without seeing the game over screen. There is also a practice mode, so if you're stuck on a level, you can keep practicing it until you perfect your run. This is a nice addition to have. Pawarumi's levels are very well laid out, with great enemy placement and some truly awesome locales. Whether you're flying through the snowy lands of Alaska, the heavily populated desert, or a volcanic factory, the levels are very immersive to fly through. The end of each stage has you facing off against a boss as well. Bosses are a blast to face off against and truly memorable. They look as cool as they are cleverly designed. The challenge they present on the higher difficulties also provides an even grander sense of accomplishment. As much as I enjoyed my time with Pawarumi, there were a few things to note. First off, this shoot-'em-up is solely a single-player affair. While I get that it's part of the story to be a solo run, I can't help but feel it's a missed opportunity to bring a buddy along for the action. There is at least online leaderboard support to compete with other people's scores around the world. The second thing is, while I enjoyed the story, the still image used of Akko in every cutscene is a bit repetitive to see. Again, the story is nothing amazing, but it's actually decent enough where it actually, again, gets the point across and gets you going from level to level. Overall though, there wasn't too much to not like here. Visually, Pawarumi is a beautiful game to look at. While the game doesn't run at 60 frames per second, at least not on the Switch, I'm not sure about the Xbox One version, it does run at a locked 30 frames per second, no matter how intense the action gets. Stages are superbly crafted with a ton of detail to texture work. It's also awesome to see when the camera goes into a cinematic mode. This gives you more visibility to showcase just how carefully crafted the stages are detail-wise. All the enemy ships look and animate well, and Akko's ship transforms depending on which weapon you use. What's really amazing though is the Switch exclusive Joyful option. When turned on, the game reads which 2-colored Joy-Cons you're using, and will make use of those colors for the color of your ship. So if you're using 2 blue Joy-Cons, the ship will be fully blue. If you're using a red and blue Joy-Con combination, then half will be red and half will be blue. This is an awesome feature that I hope more developers look into, as I believe this is the first Switch game to use this kind of functionality. In terms of audio, Pawarumi's soundtrack is fantastic. The upbeat electronic score infused with the source material's inspiration is just awesome, and really gets you further immersed into the experience. The soundtrack alone made me want to keep returning, and even deserves a spot in my iTunes playlist. Sound effects are also very well done, and captures the arcade-like vibe of the game. Honestly, crank up the sound system for this. Pawarumi is an excellent shoot-'em-up that is up there with the ranks of Ikaruga and Radiant Silvergun. The intense action, unique Trinity mechanic, bumpin' soundtrack, and stunning visuals make this a truly polished package. The lack of co-op is noticeable though, especially for this genre. Regardless, the team over at Manufacture 43 made it clear that Pawarumi is a labor of love for the shoot-'em-up genre. It's a hard game, make no question about it. However, there's no denying that what's here is immensely enjoyable. That's why I'm giving Pawarumi an 8.5 out of 10.